It's so great to live in a free country. Yup, one great patriotic nation. A country where we have free speech and expression, where we get to have safe and secure elections for the leaders of this republic, and where our money should be backed by real currency. A place where I can reap the rewards of my labor. One nation under God and the freedom to worship Him, if I please. Where I can have a trad wife and family and lead them how I choose. Where I can homeschool my children and raise them on a homestead or a farm. Where we can have fun and enjoy life and be left alone if we want. A country where I have the right to protect myself with no fear of a tyrannical government that would use its power to overreach its checks and balances. Yeah, no concerns there. But maybe it was a good thing that I bought my first gun, just to be on the safe side.
Jared, I need medical!
We just released a line of new steel targets called the Genesis Systems. They're a budget-oriented line of targets built specifically for you that want to spend less money on your target system. Kind of like we spent on this video. So if you're interested in saving money and training effectively, look no further than the Genesis line of steel targets from TA Targets. I remember taking my first medical course outside of high school, and it was very eye-opening for me. This was a course that was put on by a group called D-Day Response Group, where they took firearms and medical gear and training, and all of that was mixed together. It was largely focused on realistic scenarios that citizens might face that involved firearms, stuff that you and I may actually face in a real-world encounter. I had a little bit of medical instruction in high school, but that was mostly based around CPR and some basic first aid and simple trauma response. I think it was great that my high school made that a priority, but I'll be honest with you, I took medical training for granted, and in some ways I catch myself still doing that to this day. And I say that as someone who has not only taken multiple classes on this topic, but several times in my life I've been the first person on the scene with medical equipment. That's something that, as we get through this video toward the end, I'm gonna talk about a little bit later. As I entered the firearm industry, I saw a lot of bravado around firearms. Almost entirely, we focus on the tool used to defend life, but we often forget that medical is far more likely to be needed. One doesn't take away from the other, but I personally feel that we should be prioritizing medical gear and the training with it to the top of our lists. The thing about medical equipment is when you need it in a critical emergency, you need it now. You cannot wait. You can't afford minutes. If you wait, fail to act, or don't have the tools on hand or the training, it could end up with a life being lost. And there's a debate among people as to whether or not our duty is to respond to that medical situation, but the truth is, it's not our duty. But I feel as citizens of our communities, we do actually have a duty to be prepared. We should feel called to act. We can debate that, but this video is focused on those who will act and those who desire to help. If you're not willing to help others, this video will still have some applicable information on kits and self-care, but I would encourage you to think a little bit deeper than just yourself. Just a challenge for you. Actions you take with medical or actions you do not take can mean the difference between someone living or someone dying, and that is a heavy conversation. Let me frame up this video for all of you. First of all, this video is not a legal opinion of different responses for different situations. I'm gonna be honest though, I will respond. I will navigate the legal ramifications after the fact, and there are laws in place that will back up Good Samaritans during lawsuits after administering first aid. It can happen. You could administer care to someone who has a do not resuscitate card or a desire to not be helped, they could possibly sue you. It is definitely a possibility, but it isn't what this particular video is about. This video is to make you aware of several kits that we offer to help you to be better prepared to respond. And at that note, if you buy any of the kits we talk about, we will financially benefit from it, obviously. If you don't want to buy them from us, that's perfectly fine and cool, I get it. We think that you should, but ultimately this is just a roadmap of what we look out for inside of medical kits. You should do your own research and simply use this video as a basic overview. I'm not going to talk methods of application, pros and cons of certain methods, or any of that kind of stuff. This is strictly covering several ways that I personally carry medical and how I've implemented it into my daily life. Let's start off with vehicle medical carry. The first consideration I have when I'm thinking of how to incorporate medical gear into my daily life is how can I commit to having it in my vehicle with me every single day. And the reason being is because every year there's over 40,000 accidents that require some sort of medical care in the US. And if that happens to you or you come across an accident, having EMS could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes away. So I want to be prepared to deal with most situations. And I also recognize that in your normal day-to-day travels in a vehicle, we are like missiles going down the road, going opposite directions. Stuff can happen so quick, and I want to be prepared to be able to deal with it. And in my own life, there's been experiences where I've had to do that as well. So one of the things that I did in my personal vehicle is add the Get Home Alive medical kit that we have on our website, and I attached it to MOLLE panels inside my vehicle. Now I recognize that many of you may not have MOLLE panels in your vehicle, and to me that does not matter. Having a kit like this in your vehicle gives you this robust kit that allows you to deal with everything from regular bumps, scratches, bruises, to traumatic injuries that require tourniquets and other gauze and other dressings as well. The big benefit of having it in your vehicle is the fact that it's usually with you every single day. And on top of that, because it's a vehicle, you can fit more gear with you. And that's why if you're just starting out, I think the first place that you need to look into is having medical in your vehicle. If possible, have it accessible from your driver's side door, or at least on the driver's side of your vehicle so that you can get out, get the medical gear quickly, and then apply it if needed. I've been carrying medical gear in backpacks for many years, and I just updated my kit from the loose components that I used to just throw into the MOLLE section to one of the Responder IFAKs, as well as a base med kit from Live the Creed. And when it comes to carrying medical on my body, which this is technically off body, but with me when I'm traveling around, a backpack offers a clear advantage because, for one, we can hide the medical gear so nobody knows that we have it, and then we can carry more medical gear with us. So even if I find myself walking out of my vehicle, whenever possible, I'm gonna bring a backpack with me because of the affordability and the ability to have all of that other medical gear with me. And as I said, the Responder IFAK kit is a great way to carry a tourniquet and a bunch of other medical gear that you might want to have on your body. The base med kit to me is sort of a supplement to a true trauma kit. This has more of your regular boo-boo stuff, the smaller cuts, scrapes, regular everyday things. So I really view the base med kit as that supplementary kit that I'll bring with me. And I have all of this mounted in my EDC Ready Pack. And to me, the EDC Ready Pack is a phenomenal bag. It's one that I've used for many years. It allows me to carry more of that medical gear, plus I can carry a smaller rifle with me or office supplies and things of that nature. So in addition to the medical kits, if you're looking for a backpack, I'd suggest you check out what we have on our website. We have a bunch of different designs and styles that are going to suit your needs, and then allow you to carry medical with you wherever you're going. While backpacks are certainly my preferred method for carrying medical, simply due to the fact that I can carry more gear with me, there are absolutely times where it's not proper to carry a backpack into certain places. And in those situations, I'm left with no other option but to carry what I can on my body. And that's more difficult than you might think. And look, guys, I've made this excuse for many years, where there's certain places that I've gone without medical because I couldn't bring a bag and I didn't want to be inconvenienced. I didn't want extra stuff in my pockets, and frankly, I just hate having crap in my pockets. But the good news is there are options in the world of medical that allow you to carry on body in a very discreet manner. Now, the biggest downside of carrying on body, like I said, is the amount of gear that you can bring with you. So these are not full-blown trauma kits. These are to give you just enough to stop situations that you might run into, but they're not going to be abundantly full of different gear. Because we carry guns and we're trying to carry guns discreetly, I also try to carry my medical gear discreetly on my body. Now, people won't really get freaked out if they see trauma shears. It's not something that scares people. The reality is, I still want my medical to be as discreet as possible. And because of that, I try to conceal it as well as possible. So I brought 3 different options that you guys likely have seen, either these or similar ones on the market that serve a purpose for carrying medical on body. The first would be something around your ankle. Now, you can carry on your ankle, you just have to be careful what type of pants you bring with you. I would say the biggest benefit of on ankle carry is the fact that you can carry the most amount of gear with you. Unless you're wearing cargo pants and you've got 17 pockets and you just fill every pocket full of medical gear. Personally, I'm not a big fan of medical ankle carry just because I don't like my ankle getting all sweaty and irritated. I don't really wear bootcut jeans, so typically it's not very easy for me to conceal something as big and bulky as this, but that is one option that you guys can tap into if you would like. The best option that I've found that was the most intriguing, and we now carry on our website, is from Live the Creed. It is the small EDC pocket trauma kit. This thing is about the size of a wallet. It has just enough gear to help with certain medical emergencies. It's very small, very discreet. If you go to dinner and you have to lay this on a table because you don't want to sit on it, nobody's gonna look at this and be scared. And when you open it up, it's got just enough medical gear in here to handle some bleeding and some basic stuff. And it's got a tourniquet in here, and it's a very, very small, compact tourniquet. So I really, really like this kit. This is one of those things that you can carry every single day with you in your pocket and not make the excuse not to have some medical. The last option that I have done in the past is something either like this, or sometimes I'll even just throw a tourniquet in my pocket. Now, this is the direct action tourniquet kit from Live the Creed. Again, something we stock on our website. You could either put this on your belt at the small of your back if you wear baggy enough clothing and it's very discreet and concealable. You can throw this in your pocket, a small little fanny pack or something like that. It's still bigger than just sliding into your pants pocket and calling it a day, but there's times where this is all I've got, something like this, or even just a tourniquet. And I wanna make sure that I have the tool for the job. So this is another option as well. And the key here with why we're adding these certain kits onto our website is so that you don't have an excuse to not carry medical gear with you. And I think of the 3 that I showed you, these 2 here, the direct action tourniquet and the EDC pocket trauma kit, are probably your best bet so that you always have what you need on body. I want to take a second and talk about my own life and the times that I've had to administer care. The one that had the highest risk of death, certain death really, was actually my dog. And I know it sounds crazy to think of a medical response for an animal, but just keep it in mind if you have pets. If you have a dog as part of your family, you might actually find yourself needing to be capable of response to that as well. This isn't just about people. Now, keep in mind that I've never taken an animal medical class, but the methods and means of stopping the blood loss was frankly nearly identical. In the early morning hours, while it was still dark outside, my dog had unknowingly, basically all night, been chewing on a skin tag on his leg. In a moment, he bit too deep and he actually nicked an artery in his leg. Blood was spraying everywhere, and it took us a few seconds to hear him whimpering, and he ultimately ended up stumbling down the stairs. The blood, as he went downstairs, was continuing to spray across our living room, and Milo ended up in the kitchen where he gave up. We went downstairs and we had seen that he had laid down, blood pooling all around him. There's even blood on my ceiling from him flailing his leg and running through the living room. Frankly, it looked like a murder scene. So my wife yelled for me, and ultimately what I did is I instructed her to apply a stopgap, which is a term for momentary action when prepping for a more final solution. Basically, she put pressure on his leg to stop the bleeding. I found the artery, showed her where to put pressure, and within seconds, my medical kit was open. His leg was too small for a tourniquet, but thankfully the nick in his artery was small enough that it began to clot on its own just under pressure. And it's amazing how our bodies are created. I was able to create enough pressure with a tight gauze wrap and pressure dressing to ultimately stop the bleeding. My dog looked lifeless and he was just laying there and it looked like he was about to die. When we ultimately rushed him into the vet for surgery, the doctors pulled us aside and they said typically what they're going to do is inspect and unwind the dressing and rewrap it, then go into surgery. But they exclaimed that because the response was so professional, we stopped the bleeding successfully and the dressing was so clean and well done that they did not need to inspect and they took him right into surgery. They were shocked at our ability to respond and then apply a proper dressing to get him into emergency care. The entire time from arterial bleed start to me having the bleeding stopped was probably about 60 seconds, so just in time. I responded at one point first before anybody else to a vehicle rollover that ended up erupting into flames, totally decimating the truck. That young man was almost killed in that one, but he ultimately survived. I've witnessed motorcycle crashes and I've responded to them. I came first to the scene of a Suburban and a Jeep Wrangler that impacted at higher speeds. I cut somebody out of a seatbelt and removed them out of their vehicle after working to make sure that they were stabilized and in good enough condition to move them. At least 4 separate instances in my life, I had a choice to make and I chose to act and medical was involved in that. And each time that I did that, there was a medical kit that was right there ready to go. I'm not saying all of this to flex or hype myself up. I simply want to remind you that this stuff happens very, very often. You could be the one with a kit and training ready to go, or you could just be the one standing there helpless. I don't want to regret lack of action, so I choose to be ready to act. And personally, I believe that if you care about the community and the world around you, you should too. I want to encourage all of you to check out the medical kits that we have on our site. This is something that I've been extremely passionate about for a long time. And frankly, I should have made medical kits available through my company long ago. And I kind of regret not doing that. But we fixed that. We teamed up with companies that are doing the medical space right. These are solid kits that will help you to be more prepared. Just remember that having the tool is not a replacement for official training by professionals. Be sure to seek that out. Don't just assume that you're going to respond properly. You 100% need quality training. If you guys enjoyed the video, let us know. Consider supporting us by grabbing some of the medical gear, one of the medical kits, or some supplemental stuff on our website. The purchases and supports allow us to continue making videos like this going forward. Thank you all for the support.